Chorus, welcome in.
Howdy, howdy.
The child is just falling asleep, so hopefully that will last a little while.
What did you say?
The kiddo finally fell asleep, so hopefully that will last a little bit. Getting everything set up here. This button. That's the button I needed. Okay. Bloop, bloop. Oh. Oh, that's weird. Why did it do that? A what?
Oh, hello, Jared.
Hello.
The mini player is not mini right now. That's what's going on. Jared, welcome in.
Thank you.
No, for some reason I can see. Yeah, Spotify is being real weird. Yep. That's the whole of Spotify. Okay. There we go. Did it. I do think it's funny that I can see the play pause button, but that's fine. It is what it is. Dragon Turtle, welcome in. Alexander, welcome in. We're working on stuff today. We're trying stuff. It's another fine, stupid, tired morning, so that's good. But we're getting somewhere.
I'll be right back.
Okay. Make sure I'm actually unmuted in YouTube. I am. Discord should be running fine. Looks like a fancy duelist. Yeah. That is what we are going for. The fanciest of duelists. How's it going, Druid?
Not bad. I'm feeling mostly pretty good today.
That's good.
I'm probably about to fall into a rabbit hole dissecting my own art process again.
Okay. What brought that about?
A conversation with my mother about getting paid to do what I do, to do the drawings that I do.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every freshman art class has to have that talk. Or a talk like that of just like, because everyone's principled and like, I'll never sell out, and it's like, you should sell out a little bit.
Yep.
Same thing with musicians. It's just like, it's okay to get paid for
Yeah, the the funny thing is about that conversation, and like I have no idea where how we pick up that idea in high school that if you're gonna pursue art that you need to be a starving artist, that you don't get paid for it. The truth is, if you're going to become a professional artist, the only way to do it is to be paid. If you don't get paid, then you're not a professional. You're a hobbyist.
I think it comes from. I mean, it's true about most things, right? Like,
Yeah.
so there's a mentality of, it's an old mentality too of I think what you're saying with the hobby thing, right? It's like,
Yeah.
if you love something, you should do it for yourself and not for other people. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
that's great, but you need to live.
Yeah.
Like, if you can do what you love doing for other people, great. You should still do it for yourself. But if you're doing it for somebody else, make them pay for it.
Yep.
So, and I think there's the other side of that, which I think is kind of the side that maybe people think about more but don't really realize the implications of. Like, the starving artist thing, people are doing it because they love it. And in a lot of cases, detrimentally so. Like, people are doing something that they love and it's hurting them through, like, just not being able to pay the bills or not being able to eat. And it strains relationships and stuff. And so it's like...
Yeah, absolutely. It's frustrating because the real artists don't get paid mentality thing is it's
one, it's bullshit because, like,
yeah,
the most famous artists, there are a handful of artists, not a handful, but like there are a bunch of artists that their artwork didn't become famous until after they died. And so that kind of equates to, like, oh, they never got paid for those. It's like, yeah, they got paid for all the other shit they did, though. Like, Leonardo da Vinci didn't paint all of his stuff for free. Some of the stuff we see was, like, his personal work. Maybe he didn't get paid for, but a lot of his stuff was commissioned. A lot of his stuff was commissioned work.
Yeah.
And a lot of his stuff was forgery, because that's what it was at the time.
Yeah, but the idea that people who do real art don't get paid, it's absolutely setting people up to get taken advantage of, and that's the most frustrating thing.
You want to say that to Taylor Swift? You go right ahead.
Yeah. Taylor Swift.
You get booed off the internet.
Yeah, go ahead. Try to tell her and her fans that she's not a real artist because she gets paid. I dare you.
Stop buying her stuff. She's an artist. You don't have to pay her. Bullshit. Yeah, so I'm glad you're having those conversations, though. Like, sometimes I feel like it's just, like, saying things out loud can really help.
Yeah.
I had a weird conversation with someone in one of my sculpture classes about, like, I like fine crafted things, but they don't have to be, like, super ornate. Like, a really nice pair of a really well put together chair doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to function like a chair, and that makes me happy. And they're like, that's just, like, boring basic shit. I'm like, yeah, a little bit. And they were like, they started talking about, like, who's the guy that did Andy Warhol and maybe Bob Ross. I think we talked a little bit about Bob Ross just being, like, super generic stuff done at a very high quality level, and it's like, and that becomes commercialized, right? And that's lame. And I'm like, why is that lame? Like, all that stuff is good. It's everywhere. People like it.
Wait, is it lame because it's successful and you can't do it, or is it is it lame because it connects to a lot of people? Is it lame because it's functional? Like, help me understand this here. I had a very similar conversation in college with because I was sculpture and ceramics major, right? So I had a conversation with somebody in the 2D painting program, and we were talking about ostensibly it was function over fashion, and like it was I won't tell this story because it's already making me get real pissy. But like the idea that that a thing, because it functions or because it tells a story, it is somehow inherently less than quote unquote high art, the stuff that is going to
Yeah.
go in a gallery and needs a plaque in order for anybody to have any amount of context to understand at all. Like it really felt like a breakdown in communication to me, and that was frustrating.
Yeah, I've talked about that a bunch too, because people get really hung up on the kind of not unnecessarily of art, but almost the Burning, welcome in.
Hey,
Alexander,
Bernie.
welcome in, by the way.
Back, by the way.
Art
Hey, welcome
as
back.
a expression of medium, so like when it has purpose, it loses that kind of quintessential thing that makes it art.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
like art doesn't have to just be a gallery piece. It doesn't have to be something that just is visible. Like art can
Yeah.
be a living, useful tool. And
It also doesn't have to be wholly conceptual.
right, yeah, that's kind of where that's a good way to put it. And I don't know why people kind of get that in their head. I think there is that disconnect between fine art and like
Yeah.
I
maybe
think
just-
it boils down to the idea of art versus craft.
a
Craft
little bit.
generally.
A little
What's
bit,
the-
yes, but
Well, hang on.
yeah, go
Hang
ahead.
on.
Yep. Finish your
Shut
thought
up and let
then
me finish.
finish your thought and I'll push back. Yep, go ahead. Sorry. I'm
Let
sorry.
me just. It's fine. It's like, then let me finish my thought. Even though crafts can be very artistically inclined and everything like that, a craft is inherently a useful item, while art generally is not a useful item. That's what I think most normal people who are not artists think about.
Yeah,
Mm,
and I think
Yep.
that's kind of that misconception that I'm talking about there, because like I think that craftsmen and especially like tradesmen
mhm.
can be like accentuated to an art form. Like thought and effort put into something can be an art form. And I had a conversation with one of my friends about this years ago, and they're like, "No, artists are artists. Everyone else is just doing stuff." And I'm like, I mean, a chef can be an artist, like right, and someone can put enough thought and effort into something that elevates something beyond its normal use to like intent, and that's what I think is art, is like having intent in something. And they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, so what? Like a serial killer could be an artist?" I'm like, "Well, they would consider themselves an artist, but I don't think other people would." Right? Like, and that's kind of the thought process. Or like, what was the other example? Or like, I think I said like anything that you put effort and intent into can be art. And they're like, "Oh, what? So prostitutes could be artists?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's like there's nothing wrong with that. like, and so
Look, I have seen some performance art pieces, and I can tell you that's no different than prostitution.
yeah, so I really think it's almost like the boys club mentality
Yep.
of like, oh well, we're artists. I think it comes more from that than people thinking like, oh, craftsman stuff isn't inherently as good. It's like, no, I think it's this idea that art is inherently kind of more important, and maybe self-imposed. That thought is self-imposed by artists and high art galleries than it is normal people.
What's weird for me is I've mostly heard the opposite from like crafts people. Like they will get upset like when you call them an artist. Like, no, I'm a crafts person. Like I don't make art. I make useful things. Unlike art, they were
yeah,
like,
okay.
they almost like hated artists.
Yeah, I
for
think
it.
I
Like,
think that's two sides of the same coin, right? Like
yeah,
the
it
idea
is. It's just I just heard the opposite end of
Yeah.
it.
because yeah, I mean, like think about people that make shoes, right? Like a cobbler. Like 9 times out of 10, they're trying to make shoes for people that are functional, and then maybe they'll spend a lot of time on one pair of shoes just to show off how fancy they can be, right? Like that's a very there's a delineation there from the artist saying, hey, this is the one I'm putting my time and effort into, when really they're using their craft, their skill to make all their shoes, but they want this one to be elevated, right? And to them that's art, and I think that's a great way to look at it. So a lot of stuff is art. The question is it good art, which is subjective. So most performance art and a lot of modern art isn't. Well, it's subjective again. And behind being subjective intellectuals, that the emperors lose. It's a lot. I think a lot of the emperors like clothes story thing.
Yeah,
I think that makes a lot of sense.
I think it's really easy to look at modern and performance art, and especially stuff that like you've only heard about or like seen photos of online and say that this is not good, when most of that stuff was actually meant to be viewed in a gallery, and so you're seeing it divorced of its context, which robs it of its meaning. So it really is very difficult to say that art is good or bad, and you're absolutely welcome to have your opinion. It's just like I just want to be very clear here that just because I'm saying that craft can be art, I'm not saying that high art is not art.
I'm saying that. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Art is subjective.
Art is subjective. And
Welding
I
a
want
bunch
to,
of tin cans together is not art.
Can be.
yeah.
Stomp made a career out of it.
Yeah.
Who?
Damn it. I don't know if that was a burn or you actually were curious.
No, like legit. I didn't hear what you said, and I assume it's an artist, which I don't know artists.
Stomp
I'm not an artist.
was late 90s, early 2000s. It was a performance show. Like, it was a performed show of people just like banging trash cans and buckets
Stomp.
and stuff.
Okay.
Stomp, yeah.
I was hearing Stomp. I'm like, huh?
I'm gonna say the banana taped to the wall was a good piece of art. It is, but that's contextual, right? Like that's the thing that like a lot of people don't get about, especially performative art, and a lot of modern art. A lot of modern art is not satirical, but self-satirical, I guess.
Tongue in cheek.
Yeah, and I mean like that goes back to like 50s. People started doing that. Who's the guy that made the toilet? I freaking love that guy.
I don't remember. I unfortunately have very little context for any of these names, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm really bad at art history. The famous sculptor got paid a butt ton of money, and he put a toilet in one of the things.
Was it a functional toilet?
No.
Damn.
That was part of it.
I guarantee somebody tried to use it as one.
And it was specifically just to point out the absurdity of like, he thought that a lot of modern art at the time was shit, and just like, you guys will think anything is art. So since I'm so well renowned, if I put a toilet here, people are gonna love it, and people did. And it's just like, ha, bullshit. Self-referential. I do think there is a piece of art that is kind of missing that a lot of people don't get, and it's we've talked about like the intent. I'm gonna get a new thing. There's artist intent. Why can't I draw on this? What? Oh, because there's artist intent. So like, what the artist wants the people to see. There's the viewer, artist, and then there's like critics, and then a lot of times, like if you have really kitschy art, the artist is doing the art for the viewer, right? And then if you have a lot of like high fancy art, a lot of the time that's done about the viewer. The artist is doing something that's like speaking on society or trying to make a point, right? And that can piss people off too, which is fine. There's been lots of art that does that. That's the artist's intent.
Sometimes it's probably intentional.
Yeah, done intentionally, right? I've made this to make you mad. Like the Banksy thing where they shredded the thing. Like that was just like,
yep.
This is purposefully to thumb my nose at the community itself. But then there is a lot of art, especially performative art, that is about the artist for the artist.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm doing a thing because I need to deal with some shit. You guys are allowed to watch me, and I'm gonna I'm gonna capture this moment, and then I'll talk about it later. But I'm doing it for me.
Yeah.
And that's some of the weirdest, just like makes no sense, watching people dig through their own dreams. And it's like, I'm not into this. I get what you're doing. I'm a little uncomfortable. Right? Like that I think is a lot of modern art. And some people want to see people kind of go through that. Like, I want to see you work through your pain. Here's a bunch of money. Please do that. And that's great. Like, I think that's a whole nother side of art that just doesn't get a lot of talk about, because it's not really for the mass group. It's like not for the masses, right? It's meant for a small group of people who might understand what's going on or have similar feelings.
Yeah, I think one example of like art for the artist's sake I can think of is this Spanish artist called Goya. And like, is when he was really old. It was like I think it may have been his last paintings he ever did. They're kind of categorized as the black paintings. He basically whitewashed all his walls and then proceeded to paint them black, and then paint on them in his house.
Okay,
and they're
that's awesome.
Pretty freaky. Well, it's a lot of kind of grotesque art. Like, I think one of the famous ones is like Kronos eating his children.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm like, I knew the name. I know that painting.
And that was one of them. And like, he plastered over them.
Yep.
A good chunk of them before he died. And it's assumed that he never meant for them to be ever seen by the public, but we found them and made them public. And so it's like, you kind of get this dark look into this artist's brain before he died, and it's just like, kind of terrifying.
I have a bit of a I have a little bit of a hoarder mentality. Like, I'll find something like bottles or boxes and be like, I can do something with this. I have no idea what it's going to be, but I want to use these someday, and I'll hold on to it for years. And that's something that I have to deal with all the time, and I'm aware of it. So I'm not. My house is not packed full of shit, but like, it very easily could have been. And in college it was like, I had tons of stuff in my truck, but that was something I worked through when I was doing sculpture, because it was like, I want to make stuff that I can like do something, capture it with footage, film it, do something interesting with it, and then just get rid of it. Like, I need this stuff to be done, right? I don't want to save something. I want nothing left after this. And I didn't really realize that's what I was doing for years, until I was like, I think that's why it is. It's like, I'm fighting this mentality of my own making of just like wanting to keep and use things. But it's like, I also just, I want to see the process of things being used. I want them to be done. I want things to come to an end. And so I smashed a lot of stuff. I would build sculptures and destroy them. I would make things and then light them on fire. And it's just like, the whole process, very, very cathartic. Okay, hold on a second. I gotta catch up here. A lot of stuff. Entirely found options, dragon, yep. That's what it's called. Subjective, yep. Post-ironic meta-humor. I call it post-ironic meta-humor. That's kind of its own thing. Like, meme culture is weird. And it's just, the whole process of it is degradation.
Of the human soul.
Yeah. Inside jokes. Inside jokes aren't good jokes because no one gets them.
Yeah.
Things are not new.
I say that as someone who loves Arrested Development, which is a show about inside jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah, incredibly self-referential, but like, it's true. It's inherently alienating. You can't watch the show starting in the second season because you won't get anything that's happening or any of the humor.
I remember there's in Moscow, Idaho. Oh, hello. Hold on.
Oh, maybe.
Good morning. What's up? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Whoop! You dropped it. You dropped a teddy. Here you go. In Moscow, Idaho, they commissioned the college to create a big sculpture for the like "Welcome to Moscow" sign, and they made a giant wheat germ because it's an agriculture school, and it's just like this big thing, and it's awesome, and everybody hates it. And like we were out doing a class just talking about it because of like, okay, it's finished, let's talk about it, doing all those things, and like people were driving by me like, that thing sucks, and just like, wow, people are mad about this. But what they don't realize is that like it's a sundial. It's a giant sundial. It's got the entire like history of the college as well as the town wrapped around it, in like a giant calendar. So like it's a huge timepiece and like historical log of the city, and it's awesome. But from the perspective of just standing back, it looks like a giant egg, just like it's just sitting in the middle of the road. I think it's great. I think it's beautiful, and I think it's a good job. But if you don't have the context for it, it's just a big rock and it makes people mad. So then the question is, who does? If you go down the rabbit hole, you eventually see everything as art. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everything is art. If someone put intent in something, I think there's art in it. And so like, there's some really, really cool manhole covers that exist.
I don't know if I fully agree with that statement, but I get the sentiment.
Not every manhole is a piece of art, but they can be. Like, I think there's artistry in it. I think there is intent in some of it. And sometimes a manhole cover is just a manhole cover. Like, so that is also
sometimes a cigar is a cigar.
Sometimes a cigar is just a cigar.
And I disagree. Art does not become meaningless because everything is art. Art becomes more profound because you start to see the world as having infinite potential, and you start to see people from their perspective. You grow in empathy, you grow in understanding. Maybe you grow in pretentiousness too. That is a thing that tends to happen. But as a whole, it does not become less meaningful. It becomes more meaningful. That is one of the cool things about art and art criticism. Is it's not like superpowers. When everybody has superpowers, no one is super. It's not like that at all. When everybody sees the world through the eyes of an artist, everything becomes cooler and more wondrous.
There's a difference between coding for something and coding as an art form. And if you don't know what I mean, I can't really explain it to you. Like, they're two very different things. Like, someone who has intent and wants there to be beauty in their code, it's amazing. And it can be, it's like, I don't know how they do it. I just don't. I don't see it.
Yeah.
My brain's not wired that way. But then looking at that versus, like, a first-year coding student's code, it's night and day. It's just like, this is a rat's nest of of vitriol and anger and energy drinks. So.
Yep. And look, Dragon Turtle, you're right. The banana, 200 years ago, put in a gallery, the banana takes to a wall. That would have been laughed out of the gallery. The reason the banana on the wall is such good art is because it happened when it did, for the audience that it did.
Yeah.
And the fact that the artist knew the audience, and decided to do this thing, they probably knew that it was a stupid idea, but they also knew that given the audience, there was a good chance that it could be taken seriously and seen for something more.
There was an artist who took the money they were given to make their art, did nothing for months and months and months, and then turned in a whole bunch of blank canvases. And they were like, and they were like, yeah, this is all about excess, and I wanted to make it seem like I was stealing from the gallery, and the gallery's like, you are, because that's not what we paid you to make. And it's like, yep, that's how that works.
Yep.
Like, just because the thing that people don't, I think, see very often with, like, let's say the banana thing or the Banksy thing, right? Exactly what Druid is saying is art is whatever it is for the people you're making it for. Like, whoever's paying you for it, if they're happy with it, you've succeeded, right? Because if they're not, they sue you. And that's when you know you have bad art, because you didn't deliver on the thing you promised you'd deliver. And it's not necessarily bad art, but it's bad business practices. So,
Kid, what are you doing? What are you
Yeah,
doing?
that was a program. A few of the, not necessarily art teachers, but like the choir teacher wanted to do was like art management or art business, and just like it had like 2 people in the class.
oh, that's a bummer. I might have talked a little bit about this. I think I might have talked to you specifically about it, Corvus, or maybe it might have been Sierra. But like, there is, and this is something I only learned because I was like a teacher's assistant and worked for the university for so long for different things in different departments. Art curation is undervalued, but still, like, unfortunately, it's also very kind of cutthroat is the thing.
Yeah.
Like, so if you are an art curator for a museum, that's all you do is you look at art and you decide what is the most important thing to put in this gallery, right? And from an art museum standpoint, that's pretty profound. Like, people want you to have an understanding of the community. They want you to have an understanding of the art that's being made, the artists in the local areas and stuff like that. But there are also people like that work in corporate America that just look for like corporate photography or graphic design or font. Like, so if you have a passion for art or music, or in your case, Corvus, I think we were talking about like books and stuff, right? Like being a library curator.
Yeah.
Curation is not something that a lot of people go to college for, but it is a thing you can go to college for. It's 100% a thing. I think I've met like 2 people that have wanted to do that. And it's really important, and it's just kind of looked over by a lot of people.
I need to respond to what Dragon Turtle just said. So, like, I just need to point out that when we're talking about art criticism, like, we haven't really made value statements. Nobody is saying that because you disagree with us that you're dumb or that you're bad. Nobody is saying that all art is perfect or that all art is equal. Like, this is where, like, you are keep picking fights and assuming absolutes from statements that have made that are just not there, and that's really frustrating to see that kind of feels like you just want to argue, which I think has kind of put me off the topic, so I think I'm ready to move on to something else. Anyway, this your drawing is looking very good, Rook. I like it. I was the shadow color that you put on the cloak at first. I didn't realize it was a transformation layer.
Yeah, I mean,
so I got real scared.
I always try to do that. I'm struggling with how to actually shade this cloak, because it might just be solid, right? Like, the light should really be on the back side of it. So I'm kind of wondering if it should just be completely
Shadows
solid.
all the way down.
Yeah.
I mean, it
And
would
then
fit
maybe-
considering they're a fetchling.
Maybe do this. Wait, say that again?
Said it would work considering they're a fetchling. Shadows all the way down.
Just infinite shadows.
I thought they could glow.
I think this one does.
Mine
doesn't
can
it?
glow.
Yeah.
Mm.
Does it glow through the
like-
clothes? That's the question.
I don't think so, because it's described as like your veins and
Ooh,
like kind of skin glowing.
okay. It's an internal glow.
Yes. So like I always pictured it like, because it's a dim light, like when you put your hand over like a really powerful flashlight,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of glows through your skin hand.
Subsurface scattering and diffusion.
Sure.
It's like, oh man, I'm now thinking of like Tron Legacy. The clothes that they've got like the LED strips inside.
Freaking love that soundtrack. It's so good.
It was actually pretty good. I know it's not like a critically acclaimed movie, but it was fun. I
Yeah.
did enjoy it.
It looks beautiful. It was interestingly told.
Mhm.
It was kind of shittily written.
Yep.
But it was fun. It was a good movie. I liked
Yep.
it.
It was not nearly as groundbreaking as the original Tron, but no, I don't think anybody expected it to be.
I have such little context for Tron. I only know like the newish. I guess it came out like 15 years ago or more.
Yeah, like
On
2000
Disney?
Yeah. That's what we're talking about,
2004,
Tron
2008,
Legacy.
something like that.
Yeah.
And that's like the only one I know vaguely, and I never watched it because I didn't. The colors hurt my eyes.
Tron. the base
Fair.
idea for Tron was this guy invented an AI world that could, like, He created life inside of a digital world. He's like, check it out, I made people, and then and they wanted to use that for like military shit. And he's like, I don't want that. And then the next crux of the movie is that he then gets digitized and thrown into the computer, right?
Yeah.
He gets isekai into the computer where he just created a world of people.
Yeah.
And
So
Tron
Tron
is like
is
a security
specifically
program that was
Exactly.
designed to protect that mainframe system.
Yeah.
Tron Legacy is his son. His son is trying to find his dad because his dad disappeared 20 years ago. Guess
Yeah.
what? Went into the computer. So
Mayhem.
it's not beautifully well written. It's not elegant. They did some really cool stuff.
There you go, kid.
But
It's
yeah,
fun.
kind of going back to the Fetchling thing. The little flavor text is your body proves that shadow cannot exist without light. Perhaps your eyes glow brighter or your veins occasionally pulse with light. And you can emit a dim light within 5 feet of you, which is not a lot of light.
No.
Oh, I get to play my sword wizard tonight.
Oh, fun.
His name is Herbert Gerblin.
Are they a Gerblin?
He's a hobgoblin.
Close enough.
But he's a hobgoblin that was raised by elves, so he's a sword dancer. And he doesn't believe that magic is real.
That's very funny.
So
Dragon Turtle, Fetchling is a Pathfinder race. They are humans that, like, centuries ago got drawn into the Shadow Plane and they evolved to live there.
Essentially like Shatterkai in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. Which brings up my next question, Rook. Which system are you playing in?
We're doing a 5e game.
Okay, cool.
Lars only wants to play 5e, which makes a lot of sense. I think why he, I don't want to say half-assed his last characters, but kind of like he kind of checked out. Because I don't think he liked Pathfinder as much. But I don't know if that's because he checked out or because he didn't want to learn a new system. But
it is significantly crunchier.
yeah. So we're going back to 5e for Lars because it's his campaign, which is totally fine. And I'm going to play this character. My spell book is going to be like a user manual, like a training manual.
How to not magic.
Just like sword skills. So all my spells are going to be just like diagrams of combat techniques. This is how you make your sword explode.
I mean,
I haven't picked it. Like, I don't have like lightning bolt or anything yet, so a lot of it makes a lot of sense. Like True Strike and Booming Blade and things like that.
Right. So it's not a secret martial art technique, magic missile.
Right. I just didn't pick magic missile for that purpose.
Yep.
They don't get all depressed like the Shatterkai. I mean, they could. I don't know.
no.
Yeah, I don't know about the lore specifically. I think at the point where you can play them, I think that's up to individual choice. But they definitely
Yeah.
have a specific story. I don't know what it is.
So, lore specifics of them in official setting is Dave, what's called Day of Ash in the Skies. That's not what it's called. When Earthfall happens, which is a massive asteroid containing a magical stone in it, breaks up and destroys a lot of places in the Finder world.
Mm.
That's where the drow came from.
Galarian?
Yep. And then, so, this group of humans known as the Aslanti, who are essentially Atlanteans. Just
They're the ones
flat
that
out
are
what
in
they are.
Starfinder.
Yes.
Cool.
It's also what Arden was.
The aliens that made the pyramids for the Egyptians.
Oh, that was the
No, they made
Anunnaki.
them their own. And so they kind of end up reaching out to something known as like the Mother of Misery,
Oh,
who
good.
opened up a portal to the Shadow Plane, which is now called the Netherworld, because copyright stuff.
Yeah.
I
I don't think
So
it was
they end up-
copyrighted. I think they just want to like further distance themselves from WotC.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
I'd be really
Oh.
surprised if you could
Fair.
copyright Shadow.
not saying they copyrighted it, but it came about due to copyright stuff.
Gotcha.
Right.
And so they came across and they kind of then started up their own little society. They're generally opposed to like the Velstruks, which are like the Cenobite demons
Gotcha. Okay.
who live in the Shadow Plane.
Wait, you make the sword explode like thunder damage, or you lose your sword? That could be funny. My intent was to I picked Hobgoblin because I got martial weapons,
Hmm.
and so I have a great sword as a wizard. I took one spell that I thought was, what the hell is it? It's like,
Blade Ward.
no. Blade Ward is great, yeah, but it's like Circle of Daggers or something. Spectral daggers.
Shadow Daggers.
No, it's from you. You make like a whole bunch of blades appear around you and do like a d6. It's kind of like Thunder Wave, but with swords. So it just does a d6 of damage around a circle around you. It's a level 1 spell. Can't remember what it's called.
Familiar. Now I'm really curious. Hang on.
Sure.
But I mean, continue talking. But
Yeah. So I will eventually have to have something like the sword explode or something, but that was going to be my. I'm going to introduce him as a elven fighter, but he's very, very obviously a hobgoblin. He's going to introduce himself as a elven fighter. Which the Blade Singer is really kind of funny, because I never really looked at it too closely, but you essentially get like an int rage.
yeah.
Should I just look it up real quick?
Yeah, because I'm not finding it, and that.
Okay, let me look.
Yeah,
DBon.
I'm familiar with it.
It sounds familiar to me, but I can't remember. the
Yeah.
name.
Because like there's Cloud of Daggers, which I don't think anyone ever really uses.
Sword Burst? It's a cantrip. Conjuration cantrip.
Oh, it's a cantrip. Okay.
You create a momentary circle of spectral blades that sweep around you. Other creatures within 5 feet of you must make dexterity saving throws or take 1d6 force damage. That feels like something that I could just swing my sword around, and if someone's like, that's a spell, I'll be like, no, just hit him with my sword.
Yep.
Hit him
A
with my
bunch of
sword.
times.
A bunch of times. So I took Absorb Elements, because I can just endure fire, because I'm a badass. That's training.
Yep.
Burning Hands, I don't know, throw fire at somebody.
Set your hand on fire and
Yep.
stick it in their face.
Catapult, I think, is going to be really funny. So I'll just only try to use stuff that's really close to me, or like I'll throw stuff at stuff to make it fly at people.
Mm-hmm.
And then protection from good and evil, I think, is just good. I can't be defeated by pixies. It's impossible.
Ghosts aren't
Inconceivable.
real.
Yeah, exactly.
They can't hurt me.
Doing alright, kid? Hey, you flipped over. Good job. Hi. What's going on?
Oh, hi.
He's getting more mobile.
Soon the age of terror will come.
I've got a whole bunch of baby cages that my friend gave me that are just like plastic walls that you can connect together in an infinite loop and just make a pen of any size. So we'll see if those work.
Here's hoping. I've seen kids that can be confined by those and kids that cannot.
Yeah.
I will not be contained.
I got them from my friend because his kids just destroy them.
Oh.
We'll see.
I knew a child that there was almost nothing they could not climb.
Oops, I'm in the wrong layer. What layer even is this? Nothing.
Caligny, Druid's favorite shadow people.
Yeah.
Cousins to the Fetchlings. They just went underground instead of into Shadow Plane.
Yeah. The Kalini are a lot of fun. I think they were one of my favorite they were one of my favorite 1E monsters to use against a party, especially underground, specifically because they had greater dark vision. Almost nothing in 1E had the ability to see in magical darkness. These guys did.
Gotcha. That's cool. I'm not an elf. Use intimidation for disguise.
Say what?
Use intimidation as the disguise.
Oh.
I'm an elf. You're not a... all right. Sure.
Oh yeah, okay. I technically can see in greater, or in dark vision, or in darkness, but I didn't take that feat. Well, 9 feet.
Because Lars wants to play 5e, it means I'm going to have to run a Pathfinder campaign at some point.
Pathfinder itch.
Yeah. I eat? What happened? You stuck? You stuck a little bit? Yeah? Okay. I'm going to take a 5-minute break here.
Hey.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, why?
Mm. Yeah, burning. 5e is like that. Pathfinder, almost everything has low light vision, but very few creatures have dark vision.
Oh.
I think that, yeah, I think Pathfinder has balanced those abilities a lot more. Although, like, magic items that make light are so accessible, I'm not
Kind of
sure
defeats the-
there's... Yeah, I'm not sure there's a point to the distinction.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember that one shot that or not one shot, but a little mission that Rook ran for us in your campaign,
Mhm.
where we went in this cave and like none of us had like dark vision,
Yeah.
and so we all just started like lighting torches or lining up light spells to see.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, we see the thing.
I think if I remember correctly, the light is also a thing that agitated the bats, though, right?
Oh, totally.
So Rook was prepared for us and prepared consequences for it, which is cool.
So for me, like, I love games that have... Just got kid spit on my hair. I love games that have like light mechanics.
Mhm.
All the way back to like Dark Souls 1 or 2, where like having a torch was kind of required. Like you couldn't see shit in a couple places without a torch. And I think that's really fun. I think that's great as a mechanic. I think it's great as like a means of control on the players.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so when I build dungeons and stuff like that, it's like I think about light as how it's important it's going to be. And that one was specifically, I think it was a Barghast.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was a Barghast, and I put pillars and stuff just purposefully obscure light and vision,
Yeah.
so it could just run around all over the place. But I didn't realize that the Barghast was like a mage, and I was like, oh, I did this wrong. I should have done that.
Yep. There's always something we overlook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I wanted the greater Barghast or something. Or maybe I did it the other way around. Maybe I did a greater Barghast instead of a regular Barghast.
I think that's it, because I think the Greater Barghast is like a higher level that was closer to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
But it really was meant for just wolves and like things to be jumping in and out of the shadows at you. And that was fun. That was a fun little campaign. It is Wednesday. I think I'm about ready to take a break and do a viewer suggestion. But I might also have this kid just yapping up a storm, so I might not.
That's okay. They're happy sounds. As long as they continue to be happy sounds,
Yep.
we're probably good.
Don't scream, kid.
He might. He's thinking about it. So, hold on. I'm gonna roll, and then I'll probably mute myself, and then we'll do this little sketch.
All right.
What is Rude listening to there? What? Oh, rugby? Oh.
Rube.
He's currently listening to tavern music, I think. I think it's the World of Warcraft tavern music.
No shade. I also listen to mostly video game music.
Nerd.
Yeah. Have you met me?
Yeah. I mean, not literally met you, but you know what I mean.
Yep.
I played League of Legends with this guy for like 5 years, and then I met him at a wedding for the first time, and we were talking for like 20 minutes, and I was just like, I don't think I've ever actually met you before. He's like, oh yeah, that's weird. And just like it took us a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Just didn't think about it. Just didn't matter. You know?
incredibly awkward. I couldn't handle that situation. I think I would hide.
Oh boy.
Oh dear. 122.
The newest DT raid music is actually amazing. I'll have to look it up. You know I don't play Final Fantasy, but I will admit they have some fucking badass scores. Hey Brain Rot. Welcome into the call. What's poppin'? Nothing. It's chill. Nothing's poppin'. We are chill. As usual.
How dare you put me down before feeding me? I'm trapped away from the keyboard now for a while. I have a new raid? You know, Final Fantasy's got some good music. I'm not into a lot of it.
Fair.
Some of it's really, really good. Like, the new raid music is... One of them's like a bop. And I just don't care about it. It's very, I mean, the thing you're fighting is like a pop star. And I'm just not into that kind of music. So they'll go from that, which is like electric pop, to like rock and roll, to operatic. And it's like, this game goes all over the place. So, Final Fantasy's got good music for everybody. Just not all of it is for everybody. It's not fantasy music, that's for free.
Except for the music in Gridania.
Hail Gridania. Gridania's great. Way better than that stinky Limsa. Lahi's for everybody. Yeah. It's 12:30. I'm exhausted. Still not done with this. We'll get there. Please explain the acronym. The Lahi or the Limsa? Lahi is just, there's a song that is just really loud, and it was like an in-game area, so you had to listen to it for hours. And it made me turn the sound off. It made me turn the music off in the game.
Phoebus.
So now it's a meme. So if you're curious, just go to Google, type in FFXIV Lahi, and you'll find it. If I remember right, like when they do every year, they do like what's it called? Shoot. We do like a Final Fantasy Orchestra, which I think is this weekend, actually. People are coming up for PAX to go to that. Final Fantasy of the Orchestra or something. And one year when they were doing that, they played the Lahi song, and someone came out with like a recorder, and just just to make it more annoying. Because that's the meme culture, how it works. Well, bless you. Lahi. This is a really annoying loop that lasts about a minute. Let's just loop it forever. Yeah, Burning Ace, you didn't have to play through that expansion like in real time, did you? You kind of blasted through it.
Oh, kid.
Jimmy Christmas.
You know, I feel that annoying eternal loop in music about some versions of the Chocobo song.
Oh, I love the Chocobo song, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. I whistle the Chocobo song when I'm like out and about. Dash the Chocobo, one of my favorites. Dash the Chocobo's really good. I also I put Navi on my phone though, so I'm a little broken when it comes to some.
Yeah, Navi never actually bothered me that much.
Navi bothered me as a design element. But
Yeah.
anything that just pauses engagement, especially when it's like, look, combat's starting. It's like, I was aware. Thank you. That's always annoying. But the Navi sound wasn't the annoying part to me.
Okay. No idea what you are talking about though.
From Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Okay. Bottle done. Oh, jeez.
Ooh.
Okay. I will be right back.
Baby exploded.
Neither. Wind jump. Sorry. I heard that.
Okay. What was I doing? Right. I was going to do
Suggestions.
a suggestion. Let's do that. I do have Aggie open. It's the same one as last time. I don't know if Druid has that and wants to join. If you don't want to, that's fine.
Yeah, why not?
Just got to find Photoshop. Photoshop is missing. Why is Photoshop missing? There it is. Beep, beep. Malahi.
I've been putting off drawing my own shit anyway.
Don't do that.
Tiny man. Okay. Someone is typing in the live stream voice chat. I cannot see that. I do apologize to whoever was typing there.
That's brain rot.
Okay.
Yep.
I
We never check that.
I do not have the hands to click over to that, so we are in the live stream chat.
Yeah. And in this voice channel, brain rot, you won't be able to be unmuted. To answer your previous question, just because Rook's gotta keep control
Moderate
of the people that can show up on YouTube. Some days you should cut me out of it, honestly.
You just gonna kick off the desk? Is that your plan? Throw me! Throw me, Papa! Cast me to the floor!
Yeah, here in the live stream chat is the best place to type in order to get seen.
Where do I type, Swag? Yep, you got it. That way we can post images and stuff, and people can just type there without having to join the voice chat.
Indeed.
Badger with a cookie. Well done. If we suggest a summoner, would including the Eidolon be too much? Yes. You get one or the other.
How did I end up behind the paper texture?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That's very funny. I'm like, why can't I draw anything?
That's super weird. Ah. Okay.
There we go.
Ready, kiddo? Alright, let's roll some dice. Oh no, where are the dice? I had to put them all away because you were trying to eat them. Nope. Immediately went into the dice box. Okay. Kid, hey, stop. I will wiggle my way to freedom.
Shimmy. Gimme.
Blue Dragonborn Tempest Cleric who wants to ascend into Dragonhood. I dig it. Dragonborn Tempest Cleric. Oh, serving Cord. Interesting. Okay.
Stormlord.
The Stormlord.
I think we've probably had a conversation adjacent to this before, but I really like the idea of Dragonborn or kobolds like striving to become true dragons, like on a quest to become legit.
Well, that was the idea for my Pathfinder campaign, so if we ever want to do that, we can.
What Pathfinder campaign? Which one?
Yep, the game that I'm setting up.
Oh.
That's essentially the story. Doesn't necessarily have to be a Dragonborn, but
It
He's about
reminds
to
me
drink. Oh, excuse me. My throat is so
in the
dry.
new Tiancha book that just released today for the public.
Oh no, another book I'm not going to buy.
I want. It's not that I wouldn't recommend this book. It's just you definitely don't need this book.
I want it. I do want it. I just
It's really thin.
no.
It's like. Let me see.
It's not
How
a.
many pages?
Is it an Omens or is it just a?
Yeah, it's a Lost
Campaign?
Omens character guide, which they generally like top out like at 300 pages. I think it's 300.
So when you
But
say
this one
thin,
is-
I'm thinking of like the dragon, Queen of Dragons setting book, which is like 30 pages.
This is a 138 pages
Okay, that's not
altogether.
terrible.
Like the cover is thicker. The hardback cover is almost thicker than the actual pages,
Okay.
but it's very dense information, just almost walls of text, with the occasional picture breaking it up.
Yeah. Rook, character question in the YouTube chat, and then I'm ready to roll too.
Was that the Eidolon question?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that no?
Oh, it
It's
was
200.
answered.
Yeah.
Did you
Eidolon.
answer
You
that?
can either
Okay.
get the Eidolon or you can get the Summoner. I'm not going to do both. It's 2 characters.
Okay. And what dice am I rolling?
Like a D8, I think. I haven't put it on the list yet, so I have them jumbled in a tiny list.
Okay. I rolled a 3.
3. Uh-oh, did I accidentally close the list? I might have closed the list.
Right.
Hold on. Hold up.
Wait a minute.
A sapient fish wizard that is a brain is a water elemental. Oh, the brain of a water elemental. Fish and a water elemental.
Okay.
Fish wizard.
Oh, anyway, I never even explained why I brought up the new book.
Oh, yeah.
You were talking about the dragons, like a dragonborn and a kobold trying to ascend to be a dragon.
Yeah.
In the kobold section of the book, because they had 2 new kobold heritages.
Nice.
And they talk about how kobolds will tend to koi fish in hopes of one day that said koi fish would ascend to a dragon and would bless said kobold for taking care of it.
That's awesome.
Because there is a god in Pathfinder who was a koi fish who became a dragon.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
So they gave him a feat where kobolds can now talk to koi fish and go fishing carp. But
very specific.
quite-
but I like it.
a lot of those, like, you get to talk to animals, but it's like a lot of those are very specifically tied to like a certain type of animal.
Yeah. And you got to remember that it's like the Tian Sha stuff, so that's all very heavily inspired by Eastern
Yeah.
folklore.
I was watching
Yeah.
Tales of Adventures or whatever that's called. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And
That's the channel name.
this is the channel name. I was watching them play. They're calling it Uprooted, I think, because they're using the Root setting, which is a board game, and they made it 5e. And one of the characters used a spell so he could make any creature understand him. I think it's called Understanding, which I've not seen before as a spell. But it was really funny because he started talking to a crab. Just like... Good stuff. There are a lot of spells like that I've now noticed in like Pathfinder as well. It's like, oh, you can read a language, but you can't write it or like anything else.
Yeah.
Or you can
Yep.
understand a language, but you can't speak it. It's just like, that's not helpful at all. What's that, boy? What happened? Were you trapped?
Oh, you're sleeping.
Polymorphic escape. Trigger. You will become grabbed, immobilized, prone, or otherwise restrained. You polymorph into a tiny vermin, a cloud of leaves, or some other shape that allows you to escape. I love it. Shapeshift into a tiny bear.
Oh no. Okay.
kiddo got food and now wants to take a nap. Which means he's going to be very, very sad and upset until he falls asleep. So I'm going to mute myself and see what happens. See if we can get this kid to take a nap.
Guess it's a good thing I decided to draw then.
Bum, 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 bum. Every do look like you.
I'm having trouble deciding on what shape I want to do for this water elemental.
Water bubble tentacle coming off it.
Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Oh, sorry, Chad. I just realized you guys can't hear that. Kid is making funny sounds.
Yep. The earth, wind, fire, and air.
Whoa. Maybe I'll try to do a sea serpent sort of shape and then anthropomorphize it a little bit.
Like a
What
water
animals
weird.
is Spawn speaking now? No, it's not dinosaur noises. I think he's approaching human.
But is that the stage where he's speaking the true names of eldritch beings?
I don't think so, unless every eldritch being is just named Bob.
Yep.
Which I suppose is possible.
Or just specifically one. Hi, I'm Paul. Every time I see, because Path Builder has updated to the new stuff now that came out today. Every time I see the feat acupuncturist, I just think of Mulan from the late 90s / early 2000s.
Yep. Well, we can't all become acupuncturists now, can we? No, your great-granddaughter had to be a cross-dresser.
Never understood that until I was a lot older. It just didn't understand the words that were coming out of her mouth.
Yeah, that was definitely a more adult joke.
Yep.
No, keep wanting to make this more simple and more complex. Can't just be a penis either.
Simple and complex, how's that work?
I don't know. This is why I've had to erase it 5 times.
Elemental medicine. Yes, please.
Stop starting with the head. Start with the torso. I'm going to end up with a were-shark body shape. It's probably fine, though.
It's fine. No one's going to know.
They're gonna know. That is a meme that I hope never dies.
Fine. From the old days of Vine.
It's lasted surprisingly long.
Yep.
Be put down, so we'll see how that goes. Which means he's just going to get more tired and more tired and more cranky. So we'll see what happens. Yesterday I had to like burrito cat him and put him on the floor. So now he just wants to look at the screen. Yeah, and now you just don't want to be held either. Okay, don't want to be held. Don't want to be put down. Don't want to lay down. What do you want? What do you want?
Raven.
Just wants to wiggle. Wants to wiggle, shake his butt. All right. Too long, did not read. How much detail do you want from submissions? The submissions should be one sentence or less, giving the race, maybe sex, or at least like
Presenting a representative gender.
I mean, gender is a good visual descriptor, but like a visual descriptor, right? So
Yeah.
like beefy works or thick. Those are fine in replace of like whatever else. One sentence description needs their class, what class they are, what they look like, and that's it. The less, the better. Kid,
It is
you're already
restricted to
tired.
one character / creature.
No mimics, no fan art. One sentence description. No run-on sentences, no semicolons.
I think mine is technically two creatures because it's a fish piloting a thing, but I'm gonna do it anyway just because a fish is 5 lines, 5 brush strokes for me.
If that.
Kid, you're just gonna burn your brain out. Okay, you're done. You're done.
I'm getting into orca territory here, which is probably...
That's not a fish.
This might get really loud. Yep, there we go. You just gotta cry it out.
was considered a fish at one time. Also, if you were a fish and you were taking the guise of something else by shaping water, what would you choose?
I mean, yeah, orca's pretty good bet. Either they're just go the extra mile and just become a great blue whale.
Yeah. Something intimidating.
Yep. Narwhal swimming in the ocean.
Let me get my goldfish in here. Let's see. Yeah, yeah, you're right, Dragon Turtle. This is I'm definitely pulling Twee and Law Spirit Kaiju from Last Airbender.
I mean, nothing wrong with that.
No, yeah. It's not the idea I started with, but I definitely am ending up there. Which is not surprising, since that is also a goldfish piloting a water elemental.
So Aang's a goldfish now?
No. La is. Aang was in there, but the ocean spirit is was the fish. And Aang was completely overcome by it. Aang wasn't piloting it, he was just the battery. I think. At least that's the read I got on it. Hang Hulk's out that episode? Yeah. The lines between them blurring a little bit? Yeah. There was definitely some spirit swapping going on there. Sounds dirtier than it is. Don't make it weird.
What I miss? Sorry.
Just me talking at the chat about
Oh.
about Aang and the water spirit kaiju. I don't need to give this abs, right?
No. The water elemental.
You can have abs.
I mean, I guess, but like, when I think water elemental, I think voluminous.
I think we figured
Yeah.
out that all mammals have abs, but I don't know if fish do. They have belly meat. So
Yeah, I don't think fish. I mean, they definitely have the abdominal muscles, but they've got to be structured way different because the most important parts on a fish are the loins of muscle that run along the side of the spine, right, to give them the locomotion.
Well, that's kind of the only muscles. you got this,
But
right? That is just goes
Yep.
all the way to the tail.
Yep.
Then you have your pectoral muscles for the fins. And you have these tiny ones back here, and they're just collars. They're called collars. They're literally like this big, comparatively to the whole fish. Like they're very small. And then you have the jaw, cheek muscles, and that's it.
Really? So there's no muscles holding the rib cage together at the
Nope.
ventral line?
No, that's why if you get a sorry, have you ever filleted or cleaned a fish?
Yeah.
You just go.
Been a
"Beep,"
while.
and then there's nothing. Yep, it's just skin.
Nope.
Oh, I guess they don't have abs then.
So I think the belly there's muscle right here on the side. That I would say is like I would consider the belly of the fish, but it cooks up just like all the other any other.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah. Well, I mean,
say,
fish are not really delineated.
Yeah. Because you can get a steak,
because I think like
or you can get
tuna
a belly.
fish
Right. So tuna
have
belly.
like belly.
Yeah, because tuna, you can get tuna steaks, which are huge, right? Or salmon
Yep.
steaks. This part right here is considered the belly, like the little tiny floppy bits. And then tuna steaks come from right here. All these pieces usually get cut into a few pieces. Big bandy muscles.
Yeah. It's a little bit confusing, right? Because like all vertebrates have pretty similar body plans, if you boil it down enough. But I guess fish are a little bit of outliers. The derived muscle groups have to translate some way. So that belly might be the abductors, and then they're just built completely or just function completely differently because the necessary anatomy is so different. I don't know though. I'm not.
A fish expert.
Ichthyology is not my specialty. Yeah.
Abductors are really hip control, which fish don't really have.
Yeah, they don't really need it.
I just typed Google, do hips have fish?
Well,
I'm tired.
And do they lie?
do they?
They do.
I mean, even snakes, well, even some species of snakes have hips, so.
It's insanely tiny, and it has basically disappeared to that tiny pectoral muscle. Or tiny pectoral fin.
Mm.
So no, not really. Oh, that's weird. By this representation, the legs spawned from the top and bottom bone? That's a weird hypothesis.
What do you mean by the top and bottom bone?
So early fish look like this.
Uh-huh.
Because that good. So this thing I just looked at, which could be total bullshit, theorizes that legs really came from this and this, kind of splaying out, versus the loss of this and the addition of a separate fin. This weird top fin just rotated. I don't know if I believe that.
Yeah, I don't think I do either, especially considering when you look at lobe-finned fish like coelacanth, they have a pelvic fin and they still have the fin on top.
Yeah. Kind of almost swim walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah.
Back to dinosaurs.
Baby agrees.
He gets so tired that he gets to a point where he just like is upset and just.
I mean, same.
We all do, kid.
And he's doing everything in his power to just not fall asleep. When we go to other planets, my chief concerns, sorry, for the life forms that we can talk to is this, followed by can we eat this? Gotcha. There was something weird about that. What was I thinking about? There are currently no rules set up via religion about aliens. Is it a sin to kill an alien?
I'm gonna say something that might be upsetting.
Your God has no power here. Go ahead.
Mormonism does believe in aliens, does believe that they are children of God. It is a sin to kill them. They are people.
I think the Vatican's not that far behind that statement either.
I don't think it's a hard sell to make that argument, you know.
Yeah.
You have to be pretty
Callous?
yeah, I mean I was going to say colonially minded in order to say these aren't people. I can do whatever the fuck I want with them. But
Well, there's also I mean, come on.
Sorry. Not a living matter, but just the way you went about it. Just, oh god. But yeah, continue.
I mean, I'm wrong.
I'd rather not.
Just screaming into a blanket. Sorry.
Same kid.
My brain stalled out.
Done it before.
I'm sorry, Corvus. I'm sorry.
Oh no, not you.
Yeah, you think like I totally get it. When I was a kid, I could not nap. I still can't nap. Like,
Yep.
I have to be sick, like actively sick to nap.
Yep.
And I thought having kids would change that in me. I'm like, oh yeah, no, maybe I'll actually be able to get a nap now. Nope, no, I'm just more miserable because I'm really tired and I can't nap. I completely lost my train of thought.
Aliens as persons, as people.
Oh yeah, are aliens people? There was a time when, especially if you talk to like fundamentalist religious groups that like literally that interpret the Bible literally, like word for word, you have to have a moment of schism where either if aliens exist, like we discover another sentient group of aliens, are they part of the human race, and the Garden of Eden is another planet, right? That's a leap people have made.
Yep.
Or does the existence of this and it not being in the Bible mean that A, the Bible is wrong, or B, something is omitted from the Bible? And both of these scare the shit out of people, and that's why people don't want aliens to exist. Because it breaks their religion. And I think a lot of people I've seen, like rational people, will rational religious people, people who like can believe in the Bible but also can't believe in evolution, right?
Yep.
They'll be like, oh yeah, I mean, like if we find aliens, cool, that means there's more than the Bible is, right?
Yep.
Which that's cool. I think that's a great attitude to have towards that thing, but it's that no, aliens can't exist because the Bible doesn't say it is the problem I have with the Bible thumpers. Because yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Like if we meet aliens, it's like, ooh, are we allowed to kill them? I don't think so. Like I think that's an easy step to make.
Yeah. Only in self-defense, I guess. But yeah.
But what if we get here and the aliens are like, whoa, are you eating that poor deer? What is wrong with you? It's like, well, this is how we evolved. Yep. And then they like just like their universal translators can talk to deer, and we're like, oops, that's our bad.
Let's. I mean, it's not likely to happen to deer. It could happen to elephants. Like you enslaved the sentient species. Dolphins, you mass murder. Like you allow certain ocean countries to like mass murder these highly intelligent, incredibly beautiful creatures.
I mean, you haven't eaten tuna fish.
Sentient.
You don't know. You don't know what's worth. You know.
I was gonna say to your dolphin statement, Jordan, like because they deserved it. They're evil.
Dolphins
they are little shits. They absolutely are little shits. But you know what? I was a little shit once too, and I did not deserve to be killed and eaten. So.
Not all dolphins are. I'm not going to finish that.
Our assholes.
If we find aliens, I'm convinced that one of the first things humanity will do, unfortunately, is try to profit off it, preacher to sleep with them. Yes, I mean, that's what we do with everything.
That's the human condition.
The human condition is to do all of those things. Yeah.
Pretty sure that's what we did in Star Trek when we first met the Vulcans or Klingons.
I mean...
Yeah, that's how we have Spock. He's half human.
The Enterprise show is like 90% about like, can we get this human and Vulcan to fuck?
Is that like the prequel where like they don't have teleporters yet?
Correct. Yeah, the teleporter is like a experimental thing. It is about the first Enterprise ship, which is great.
Okay.
Captain Archer, which I liked. I liked the premise because it was very much like, as much as, boldly going where no man has gone before. Like, even in the original series, there was already a ton of aliens.
Yeah.
And so Enterprise was very much like the humans have met the Vulcans and like one other race. And
Andorians, I think.
The whole series is about those two alien races being like, okay, now we're going to meet these people. Don't fuck this up. And humanity just being like, we're going to fuck it. And it's like, okay, here we go. So
I mean, it could turn out well.
I need to know very specific information about how your culture breeds for completely innocent reasons, probably.
that was one of the episodes.
I know. I've seen clips of it.
Oh dear.
It's
That was a very horny series. Like a Star Trek goes, very horny. Don't understand it. In case I buried it, drawing submission 2 comments up, by the way. Okay. Fairly curvy, you asked for physique, but otherwise normal scrawny mage. Those are 2 separate things. Curvy but skinny? I will put it on the list.
a gymnast. I want a gymnast.
I don't know if I consider
Or a
gymnasts
ballerina?
curvy. Built like a dwarf. That's a third thing. I never consider dwarves mages, but they are mages. What would a dwarf? If someone told me to draw like a wizard that was a dwarf, I would probably just draw a gnome. Like, I think that's where my head would go.
Yeah, I get it.
Because you're right,
I
like
think-
the scrawny mage. Scrawny mage is very much an archetype, right? I know
Yep.
exactly what that looks like when you say that. But I don't know how I would do. Do the other one. I keep
we go.
giving this dragon folk ears, and I don't want to do that. I want to give them like thousands of horns. Stormlord is just like Viking Thor stuff, right?
I don't know if necessarily Viking, but just kind of. It's like
Yeah,
just a barbarian storm god who's like also about athletics.
it's probably fair to translate some of the iconography.
Yeah, like he sort of does have like in Critical Role sort of like a Viking-esque shield symbol.
Can I get something of the Stormlord in the chat so I can get a reference? I really want to own a bladed mace. I don't know why. It's on my list.
The fact you call it a bladed mace is always funny to me.
Why? What would you call it?
Well, it has like an actual name. It's called a flanged mace. Most people don't refer to them as blades. Blades imply that you're cutting something.
You're technically chopping with it.
You're technically smashing.
I mean, you just does the same. If you hit something with a dull axe, you're still chopping. Just not doing slashing damage.
I threw in the symbol for you.
Okay.
At least, probably the symbol that most people would recognize.
I kind of want to stop what's happening right now. but he seems fine. I've got like a climbing tree,
Mm-hmm.
which he's not big enough to use, but I'm currently letting him use it as a like he can hold on to the bottom rung and kind of sit up by himself, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
He is now like wrapped around the bottom rung, but he seems content, so I don't want to like stop him. I don't think he can hurt himself. He's gonna get stuck here in a minute and get real upset. I want to request a Memoneck, but I'm not sure how to describe them. Is that a real thing? Or did you just make it up? What? Super ripped or fat or anything, I guess. Okay, then just don't put a descriptor on it. If you want them to be right down the middle, just female kitsune summoner. Great. I think that'll be fine.
Average build.
Yeah. Fairly curvy makes me think like sexy, right? Fairly curvy makes me think sexy. Which maybe that's in my own head. Maybe that's my own fault. But that's a subjective thing anyways.
Memoneck is an ancestry for the MCDM TTRPG. Which I know it's got a name now, but I still wish that it was just an acronym. SUMCDM TTRPG. Still entitled Matt Colville Dungeon Master TTRPG.
They look like porcelain ball people.
Really soften up this brush. You know, there's aspects of my own drawing that I do in Krita that I think, man, I wish that I was doing this in Magma Studio because it would be so much easier for me to just like have the brush sliders so easily accessible. And then there's stuff that I do in Magma where I'm like, man, this sucks. I wish I was doing this in Krita. I think what it really means is that I just need to, like, Critic can do anything that Aggie can do and probably can do it better. It's just a little bit more involved. So I think what it actually means is that I just need to get better at using my software.
Anything you can do, I can do better.
I mean, it can. It's purpose built for it.
Um, I guess you don't know that song.
I do.
Oh, okay.
I like Krita, so I got to defend it because I associate that song with a real snide attitude.
What? No. You don't get that from a musical, would you?
Nah, you're right. I've lost the transparency. That helps a little bit. You associate that song with Gatorade? Yeah, it wasn't a Gatorade commercial, wasn't it?
Really?
I think
I had no
so.
idea.
I remember that.
I don't remember any Gatorade commercials.
You're probably better off that way. Okay.
It was like it was from a musical about Annie Oakley.
That's where it originally?
Yeah, that's why I know it from. The musical's called "Annie Get Your Gun."
All right. I never seen that. I just know it as a pop culture reference, I guess.
Which is kind of rare for a musical.
Yeah. There we go. That's better. So the transparency effect you get with water is entirely to do with the shine. You have to get the position and the shape of the highlight layer down pretty much perfectly. That is frustrating.
Oh my god, it looked like a Yu-Gi-Oh card. Sorry, Druid.
That actually hurt my feelings.
I'm sorry.
you're
No,
not
so there's
you're
a.
not wrong, and that's the thing that hurts the most.
Oh god, it just don't like clicked in my head.
Is it does it resemble like a very specific Yu-Gi-Oh card?
Yes, actually.
Uh,
Uh,
maybe that's okay then. If it was just generic Yu-Gi-Oh, I think that would hurt more.
because there was a card from the GX series, which is arguably one of the better series. That was like a dolphin man, and the face on your water elemental reminds me of its face.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to go. This kid is
Okay.
now an hour beyond when he was supposed to take a nap, and he's just losing his mind. So
Alright.
I'm going to call it for the day. We'll be back on Friday to do more. I'll try to finish up this sketch, and I'll put it in the Discord a little later.
Yeah.
So I'll finish up some other stuff and get some more commissions done. So thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all the good character suggestions. We'll keep on keeping on, and we'll go from there. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, Felicia.
I will leave the stream up a little bit just to let it go, and then I will catch you all later. Bye. When did the Spotify music stop? That's the real question. Apparently it didn't. Oh well. We'll figure that out next time. Bye, everybody.